Hi there, I'm Flora, Portside High School cheerleading captain and beauty pageant queen. My natural beauty and charisma mean that everyone's drawn to me, but hey, I don't make it easy for them. I only allow a select few to get close to me as I can't be seen associating with just anyone. Only my classmate Nina is pretty enough to have the coveted position of my BFF. Birds of a feather flock together, right? My high school life was perfect. But then, in the space of one day, that all changed. The principal, Mrs. Harrington, told me that due to my cheerleading abilities, I'd won a scholarship to the ACL Academy, a boarding school for the athletically gifted, and I was leaving today. Huh? This made no sense. I mean, I don't even do sports. I rushed straight home to discuss it with my mom and found her sitting on the couch surrounded by a load of shopping bags. Yep, she'd already spent the scholarship money before I'd even found out the news. I know Mom loves money, but how could she make such a huge decision about my life without discussing it with me first? Ugh. Looks like I had no choice but to leave Portside High behind and go to this stupid sports school. Whatever. I'm a skilled cheerleader after all. It'd be a breeze, right? Wrong. This new school sucked. On my very first day here, I was woken up at 6 a.m. and forced to run 5 laps around the stadium. God. Are these people superheroes or what? How are they able to run and laugh at the same time while I'm panting like crazy? I didn't have time to catch my breath when the teacher made us move to the gym to lift weights. After 3 hours in the hellish gym, I barely had time to digest my lunch before they steered me into the volleyball court. Yep, that's the sport Mom had registered me for. Ugh, this stupid sport. Finally, nighttime arrived, and I managed to crawl my aching body back to my dorm. God save me from this living nightmare. Suddenly, the door opened, and in stepped my 3 roomies, aka my volleyball teammates. Honestly, I don't even know if I could call them girls or not. One has super short cropped bangs, one doesn't say much and shuffles more than walks, and one wears clothes so baggy they resemble a tent. Obviously, I'm way out of their league. And you know what they all have in common? They're always sweaty. So gross. Come to think of it, I have to go take a shower ASAP. Otherwise, I might turn into one of them. Fresh out of the shower, I called Nina and blurted out how exhausted I was and how much I missed our school. Poor you, you must be so tired. Oh, by the way, I have some amazing news to tell you. There's a city beauty pageant coming up, and I'm representing the school. What? But I won the school beauty contest. Yeah, you did. But you don't attend Portside High anymore, so seeing as I came second, they've given me the spot. Too bad, as you definitely would have won. What? How unfair! I was still in shock when the dorm supervisor stormed in and took away my phone. Yeah, I forgot to mention. This school even has a strict 10 p.m. phones away and lights off rule. It's all because they believe health is the most precious thing for an athlete. I tossed and turned all night. This beauty pageant was massive, and there's no way I could miss it. But I'm not at Portside High anymore. Instead, I'm stuck in this dumb jock academy. If only I could get out of here. That's right. I have a brilliant idea. I need to get expelled. So, I decided to skip practice and go cause some havoc for 3 days straight. I poured paint into the pool, cut off the badminton strings, deflated all of the soccer balls, and of course, I made sure that the security cameras caught it all. And as expected, the principal eventually called me into his office. Yes, this was the moment I was waiting for. Soon I could pack and get out of here. Only the rest didn't exactly go to plan. If it had not been for Mrs. Harrington. 2 laps of frog jumps around the soccer field. Now! What? Frog jumps? I hate those things! Why couldn't he just kick me out already? But wait, what does Mrs. Harrington have to do with this? After my punishment, I needed to vent. So, hugging my aching thighs, I called Nina to complain about my failed plan. And she just burst out laughing. Oh, Flora, those outdated tricks were never gonna work. You have to do something bold, like, oh my God, Nina is a genius. The next night, following Nina's instructions, I sneaked out when everyone was asleep. That's right, I'm going to wake the whole school up with these firecrackers. I lit one in the dorm's backyard, then ran to hide behind the bushes. 3, 2, 1, and silence. Huh? I went back to check and saw that it had gone out. What's wrong? Is this one broken? I tried again and again, but the same thing happened each time. As if a ghost did it? Just the thought of it sent chills down my spine, so I sprinted right back to my room. Okay, so not only had my plan been a massive fail, but it had left me super tired. Needless to say, this morning's run was not fun. Zombie alert! How come they look even more exhausted than me?
Hey, have you guys heard about the doomed jock? He's the ghost in the dorm's backyard. Allegedly, he attended this academy years ago, and he exercised himself to death right there in the dorm's backyard. So now he haunts it.
What was she talking about? Could it be the one who messed with me yesterday was the doomed jock? I couldn't just give up like that. I needed to figure out a way to get out of this awful place before this ghost got me. How about starting a fight? I heard that the fencing team and basketball team were the 2 toughest groups in the school. So, I sprayed paint on their fencing masks and punctured all of the basketballs, and left a fencing sword at the scene. Then I wrote both teams an anonymous letter. Sunday, 2 p.m., abandoned building near the back gate. When Sunday came, I hid in the abandoned house and waited for the 2 groups to arrive. Look at their tense faces. This was going to be fun. I quickly called the cops and then took advantage of the chaos to blend in with the feuding teams. I almost got punched in the face when, fortunately, the cops got there just in time, causing everyone to frantically flee the scene. I happily ran to a cop. It's me! I started this fight. But, to my surprise, the cop just asked if I was hurt. Then he hurriedly chased after the gang. Only then I realized that if I wanted to be caught, I had to do exactly what they did. Run away. Oh, man. I was staggering my way back to the dormitory, feeling deflated, when I spotted the fencing and basketball teams coming my way. Freaked out, I looked around for a place to hide, but there was only one car parked on the side of the road. With no other way, I ventured to open the car door and, it wasn't locked. I quickly jumped in, hid under the back seat, and lay completely still. At that moment, the car door swung open. I closed my eyes and braced myself to catch some hands when suddenly the car revved up and left. Looking up, I saw the principal sitting in the driver's seat, whistling happily. Oh, so it was his car. After a while, the car stopped in front of a bar in town. Didn't expect a serious man like him to go to such places. But wait, an underage student being caught by the principal here would surely get me expelled, right? With that in mind, I hurriedly followed him, but at the door, a security guard stopped me and asked for my ID card. I had no idea what to do when suddenly a strange guy appeared.
Hey, cutie. Need an ID card? How about this? I'll lend you a fake ID to get in. In exchange, you must go out with me tonight. Sounds good, huh?
Well, I didn't plan on sticking around for long, as I would just get in, find the principal, and get caught right away anyway. So I nodded in agreement. I was about to take the ID card from him when someone yanked me back and pushed me into a cab. My roommates! What are you doing here? Do you know you've just ruined my plan and—
Ruined? Who's the one causing trouble here? Do you honestly believe that if you get expelled like that, your old school will take you back? Fat chance.
Huh? How'd you know that I'm trying to get expelled? Turns out my roommates overheard the conversation between me and Nina. It was them who extinguished my firecrackers in the campus backyard, then made up the doomed jock ghost story to make me stay away from there. Then, when the basketball and fencing teams searched for me, it was them who lied that I was with them all day so I could get away with it. But what did you do that for?
Don't get us wrong. We didn't do it for you. We did it to protect the school's reputation.
Then they started telling me that, for the last few years, due to bad achievements, our school was on the chopping block to make space for industrial areas. The only way to convince the city council to keep our school was by winning the state's upcoming sports competition.
We've all played sports for all of our lives. Sport is everything to us. If our school closes, we don't know where we'd go. That's why when we saw you being lazy and messing about, we couldn't just sit back and watch.
Oh, I had no idea about this. Suddenly, I felt so guilty. I mean, of course I don't want to ruin their futures. I then also opened up to them and told them all about the beauty pageant. They insisted there must be a way to join the pageant without returning to my old school. So they searched around on Google, and guess what? Turns out the pageant accepts free candidates too, which means no school registration needed. What else could I wish for? I immediately signed up for it, and as a thank you to my new friends, I started making an effort at playing volleyball. I'm a tall girl, so my training position is a right side hitter. And you know what? There is this satisfaction whenever I was able to block a ball. Not gonna lie, this is much more interesting than I thought. That weekend, I went to the city to pick out some dresses for the beauty contest. I found myself immersed in racks of gorgeous gowns when a familiar voice startled me.
How about this one, Mom?
Stunning, sweetie. You're the most beautiful girl in this world. I don't know what possessed them to pick Flora over you. But no need to worry this time, as I have sent her far away.
Yeah, that's where she belongs. I'll show them who's the true beauty queen now.
What? No way! My old school principal is Nina's mom? And transferring me to the sports academy was part of her plan, just so her daughter could go to the pageant? I was fuming, so as soon as Mrs. Harrington went outside to take a call, I walked straight over to confront Nina. I can't believe you're like that! Nina looked shocked at first, but then smirked as she said,
Like what? Like someone who's far prettier, more talented, and crown-worthy than you? Thanks, sporty girl.
I shoved past her and stormed out of there. Wait for it, Nina. We'll soon see who the real winner is. The next few weeks were crazy busy with volleyball practice and the pageant preparations. I may have only been a reserve, but I still wanted to give it my all to motivate the team. The sports competition soon arrived, and after 2 days of competing, the fate of the school came down to the final match. Our volleyball game! Talk about intense! It sucked it was on the same day as the beauty pageant, as I would have loved to be able to cheer them on from the player bench. But then, disaster struck. The girl who plays right side hitter sprained her wrist and couldn't play. The whole team looked so worried, and that made my heart ache. There was only one thing for it. I'd replace her. If I was quick, I could still make it to the beauty pageant afterward. Come on, Flora. Stay focused. Just 1 point left, and we'd win. Suddenly, the ball came flying at me. This was it. I hit it with all my might and... Score! We won! I was busy celebrating our victory when everyone suddenly asked me about the beauty pageant. Oh my God! I almost forgot! The match went on longer than I thought it would. My friends dragged me into the taxi, but when we got there, the show was already coming to an end. And worst of all, guess who was standing there wearing the winner's crown and looking all smug? Yep, Nina.
Did you come to congratulate me? Thanks, bestie. Oh, you guys must be Flora's new friends. That figures.
How cute. Stop the act, Nina. Yes, they are my friends. They're not fake, and they're 1,000 times more interesting than you.
Say whatever you want, but I'm a beauty queen now, and you're no longer at the same level as me.
My friends started clenching their fists, so I quickly pulled them away before anything happened. Right at that time, an announcement came across the speaker.
Attention, pageants! We've just discovered signs of voter fraud. Please stay inside the hall and await further confirmation.
About 30 minutes later, the truth finally came out. Turns out, Nina's mom had paid for the voting texts. Needless to say, Nina had her crown taken off her immediately, and Mrs. Harrington also lost her principal job. What goes around comes around, right? As for me, I'm not bothered about beauty pageants anymore. Instead, I have a new hobby, volleyball. Turns out I'm pretty good at it, and who knows, I might even become a professional player? And you know what the best part of all this is? I now have true friends by my side who I know will be willing to help me anytime and anywhere.
I was in my room, humming to the latest Harry Styles song and preparing gifts for my new classmates. Balenciaga? Nope. Too cheap. Gucci? Louis Vuitton? Before I could make a decision, my dad barged in.
Sally, why did you give money to that scammer?
He's poor, Daddy.
And?
Okay. He said his mom wrote Baby Shark, and you know I like that song. Dad was always nagging me, but she did write the song, right? Anyway, I'm Sally Mayers, the youngest daughter of Frederick Mayers, the CEO of the super successful agency Modeling Sync. I suppose you'll say my life was extravagant, but hey, sharing with others isn't extravagant. Daddy says I should stop worrying about handbags and intern at his company. But how will a hot young thing like me slave away in a boring job, huh? So I moved out and was on the search for my calling in life and my Prince Charming. One day, I was out shopping when, bump, our eyes met, and I didn't know if it's because of the fall or not, but I felt dizzy seeing his angel face. Then suddenly, he leaned toward me and stole my first kiss.
Sorry about that. I haven't paid my rent, so I couldn't let my landlord see me.
And kids, that's how I met your father. Not yet, but soon to be anyway. A cute guy falling in my arms had to be fate, so I invited him to live in my house while he earned enough to pay his rent. His name's Robert, and he's handsome, a great cook, and he adores animals. He's practically perfect. Except for his mood swings. Sometimes before going out, he'd be making me my favorite oat milk lattes and checking I'm okay. But when returning home, he'd just slump on the couch and order me to make him sandwiches. But hey, even soulmates had the occasional hiccup. I told Daddy and my sister, Mia, how perfect he was, but they were both so negative.
Destined lover or a gold digger?
If this boyfriend of yours is so perfect, then where is he? And, actually, they didn't see Robert's face yet. It's just he got camera fright. I desperately wanted to take some couples pictures, but he dodged every time.
Babes, this face is only for you.
Aw, he was so sweet and super caring. Despite Dad and Mia's disapproval, he still attentively asked about their hobbies and work. He was just perfect. There was nothing to ask more from him. Actually, there was. Come here. Just a secret between you and me. I think Robert's gonna propose to me. These days, he seems fidgeting and nervous. Then one day, Robert asked me to meet him in this expensive restaurant. I was sure this would be it. Gosh, I've dreamt of a wedding with my Prince Charming all my life. Yes, I'd like to be Mrs. Hemings. Look, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a train ticket.
Sally, my dad's just passed away. I need to go back to my hometown for a while.
Then he got up and never came back. I searched everywhere for him, but it was as if he'd vanished into thin air. I knew he was grieving, but he didn't have to disappear like that. I traveled to his hometown, but everyone all said that Robert Hemings had died years ago. So, who was my Robert? Did I really know anything about my soulmate? Could Daddy be right about Robert being a gold digger?
Enough of your silliness, Sally. It's time to grow up.
I couldn't go against Dad anymore. I had to go back home and work at the agency. At least I had Mia here. But no, I barely ever saw her. She was really too busy being head of the marketing department to come see me. I felt so lost and wasn't enjoying the job at all. Worst of all, I was still missing Robert so badly that I kept making silly mistakes. Everyone was so mad at me. If only Robert was here, he'd cheer me up. One day, Mia asked me to deliver some outfits for a photo shoot. I arrived to see the shoot was already underway.
Snap that camera, darling, while I'm still young.
Boy, oh boy, that dude was sure full of himself. My curiosity poked out and I tried to sneak a peek at him, but when I saw who one of the models was, I dropped the clothes in shock. OMG! It was Robert! I charged through the group of people and wrapped my arms around him. Robert! Where have you been? I've been looking for you everywhere! But he pushed me away.
Get off me! Who are you? Why are you all over me like a rash? I don't know you.
What? But I'm your girlfriend.
Hey, you wish. Line up first.
Easy there, Tiger. This is Henry, our hottest new model. Henry who? I had no idea what was going on, so I pulled Mia outside. Mia, he looks identical to Robert.
Not every guy is your ungrateful ex.
It's not uncommon for people to look similar. Your infatuation for Robert is making you imagine things. That might be true. She talked with me for a while, then put me in charge of the shoot for her. But I couldn't brush off Robert's image on that Henry guy. Then overheard some whisperings.
Henry might be a newbie, but in the last month, he's had 3 major magazine shoots. Rumor has it, it's down to a secret backer.
Something didn't feel right here, so I decided to dive in deeper to solve the mystery of Robert or not Robert, and I easily became Henry's assistant. Early the next morning, I dressed and eagerly ran to Henry's house. Robert usually slept in, so if Henry was Robert, surely he wouldn't have
We're late!
Huh? Oh, surprise! We're not late, as I changed today's schedule into a charity activity. Then, not letting him have any chance to question, I immediately dragged him to the car. Last night when the sponsor called, I nodded without any hesitation. Just imagine those shiny cheekbones on a soup kitchen flyer for the art and for the community. Only when we arrived at the location, there was just a field full of cows and not a soup can in sight.
Did you donate grass to the cows? Still so gullible.
How do you know I'm gullible?
The staff told me. What gives?
Then Henry walked, leaving me there with the cows. But wait a minute. Those moves had a little too much sachet. Was Robert that feminine before? So how about some of my homemade cake Robert always wolfed down? This is Robert's fave dish, right, Robert? He started coughing and mumbled out that he was so hungry, he would have eaten anything. Sure, Hen. So, let's see what excuses you would make in the cooking show, chef. Your excellent cooking skill is going to give you away, dear Robert. Keep up the great act, then. But my smile faded when I saw Henry breaking the pasta in half, mistaking tomato sauce for hot sauce, and setting a pan on fire, causing everyone to run outside in fright. I sure had to do a lot of apologizing to the producers to get out of that one. I didn't understand why my plan went so wrong. Okay, Robert loved animals. No way he could resist an adorable puppy. So I bought my new dachshund, Cora, into work. But to my surprise, when Cora hurried over to greet him, he's screaming like a banshee and ran along the hallway like being chased by zombies. Is it possible? I might have figured out the truth, but I still wanted to meet him the last time to sort things out. But when he showed up, he seemed different, easygoing and thoughtful, and so Robert.
Since when did you take up this dangerous sport? When your ex left? Are you that mad at him?
I kept missing, and it was so frustrating. It's like I couldn't get anything right.
Come now. Your palms have turned all red.
You're so weird today.
Weird how?
Wouldn't you normally be like this? Or like this? Drop the act. I already know everything.
Know what?
You and my dad are dating, aren't you? You want to be my stepmother in your dreams. I was nuts to think you're my Robert.
What? I don't like your dad?
I didn't want any more of his lies. Only he pulled me back and kissed me. I was still trying to process all of this when he received a call, then ran away, leaving me all alone, like that time. There was no mistaking those lips. He's my Robert. But why did he keep denying it? I needed advice from Mia, but she wasn't home, so I waited in the living room. After a while, the door opened, and I also heard Henry's voice. Why was he here? I immediately hid in the corner, only to see my sister kiss him on the cheek. Henry, my sweet boyfriend. Boyfriend? What? So Dad wasn't Henry's secret backer? It was Mia. But he just kissed me. Was he two-timing me with my own sister? That night, so many thoughts were pecking at my head. So my sister dated my boyfriend? When did they meet? Wait, was that why Robert never wanted to take pictures with me? 'Cause it's more convenient for him to approach Mia? Had he planned everything from the beginning? This hurt so much, but I didn't want to upset Mia. I needed to find out the full details before telling her anything. So at work, I pretended to act normal while cooking up a plan for Henry's upcoming birthday. I knew he was going to brush it off, but I invited all the staff to his place, and of course, he couldn't run anywhere. And his manager, aka me, just accidentally spilled water on him so he'd take his vest off. As predicted, his room key was in his pocket. I went to Henry's room and swiped the card, but it required a password. I had 3 attempts to get this right. I tried Robert's birthday, then mine, but nope. I had one last chance. So, with a shaking hand, I pressed in our anniversary date, and it opened. I rummaged through everything and found a lot of documents about modeling Sync. Then I found something else, a photo of him with him? Right at this moment, someone grabbed my shoulder. I turned and saw Robert, but before I could talk, he flashed me his police badge and arrested me for breaking in. He led me into a dark room, and I heard talking outside. How dumb of you to use your anniversary as the password. Then Robert barged into the room, followed by another Robert?
The truth's out anyway. That's the Robert you're looking for, and his real name is Travis, and I'm Edward, not Henry. We're undercover cops investigating your father.
Turned out, Travis was asked to approach me as Robert first, and his brother Edward sometimes filled his place when he was busy. That's why Robert's temperament was so hot and cold.
But we couldn't anticipate that this kid would actually like you. Love is strictly forbidden in our job, so Robert had to go. So I created Henry and approached the suspect's other daughter to continue the mission. That was the plan until my simp brother went to see you without telling me.
So, the one who kissed me was...
It was me. I just really wanted to see you.
This is crazy! But why my dad? What did he do? Edward revealed that he suspected modeling Sync was a front for human trafficking, and my dad was the brains behind the operation. No way! My daddy is a good man! Edward, he was always kind to you, wasn't he?
People only show you the version they want you to see. Even this silly boy fooled you. What makes you think your cunning father couldn't do the same? Do you know why he's especially interested in Henry? Because he's his next target. I'm sorry, Sally, but it's true. I know it's hard to hear, but we need your help to stop this.
Did my dad really do all these awful things? But that meant my life was a lie. Whether I liked the truth or not, I needed to discover it once and for all. I held my phone in shaking hands and waited for the message, even though I desperately didn't want to receive it. Sticking to Edward's plan, I ran into Dad's office in a panic. Dad, Henry's about to quit. I found a one-way plane ticket to Ontario, and it leaves tonight.
What? It can't be.
But the message just came. Just like Edward calculated, Edward in his Henry disguise was kidnapped and brought to the port to be tracked. So, it's true. My dad's a criminal. Then the police officers who already surrounded that area will arrest him and...
Sally?
Dad, why are you still here?
Sweetie, it's the middle of the night. Where else would I be but home?
Right at that moment, Travis called me.
Edward's tracking device indicates he's moving in the opposite direction of the police ambush.
I know where he's going. You should go straight there. I asked Dad to drive me there. If Dad wasn't behind it, then it had to be someone who worked directly with the models and knew that Henry was about to leave tonight. The only person who got all three was Mia. We arrived at the same time as Travis and the police. Travis rang the bell, and the door opened on Mia and her minions.
What? But we just took him.
Sally? Dad? Mia was still as sharp as ever, but still, the police were one step ahead.
It's you?
Travis reached me first and protected me from her while Edward pulled me aback.
You tricked me!
We have literally everything. Why did you have to go down this route?
You're always Dad's favorite, while I've always been a spare part. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into modeling Sync, yet one day it will be all yours. I'd rather burn and ruin the agency I've worked so hard for than see it in others' hands. No, you got it wrong. I love you both.
They arrested Mia and found the kidnapped models. What Mia did was wrong, but she was still my sister, so Dad and I visited her in prison.
Mia, I'm sorry for everything. I thought you were stronger than Sally, and when Mom passed away, that she needed me more than you did. I know it's late, but I promise I will make it up to you.
As we left, I saw Edward and Travis. Then Travis pulled me aside, apologizing for using my feelings to aid their investigation. I still love Travis, but I couldn't get over that. He deceived me, and I wasn't going to let anyone treat me like a gullible fool ever again. So I quit my job at the company and decided to leave my comfy, overprotected nest to experience the real world. After everything that had happened, I maintained my own belief that after the storm, the sun always comes up. I studied abroad, participated in multiple charity organizations, and became a teacher in remote areas. And one time, while I was teaching in a remote jungle location, I bumped into a familiar face.
Don't worry, I'm not running into you again this time.
Do you know what it feels like to live in a splendidly luxurious castle, wearing extravagant dresses, indulging in exquisite dishes, and always having servants take care of you? Well, actually, I don't really know either. I'm just a little maid who's fortunate enough to be friends with Princess Anne. Oh, by the way, my name is Diana, and I was born in the palace of a small European kingdom. Sounds like a fairy tale, doesn't it? Well, I don't exactly live a fairy tale life. I'm only here because of my mother, Stella. She had devoted her entire life to serve the queen, so in return, I was allowed to live in the castle. And when I grew up, I became a servant to Princess Anne, who was just a few ages older than me, so we immediately hit it off. Ironically, though, I'm not quite cut out to be a servant. I'm a bit, maybe very clumsy, and I tend to be less helpful than I actually should. When all is quiet, it's likely that I've just hidden myself away in the library, lost in its endless sea of books. It would be more fun if Anne was just as happy to spend time in the library as me, but she doesn't care much for reading or studying. She said it makes you age like crazy. But still, she must attend her mandatory classes, by the Queen's order, of course, although she'd much better enjoy cooking, cleaning, and decorating. So whenever there weren't ice on us, Anne and I would help each other out. I would sneak into her classes, listen to the tutor attentively so I could help her with assignments later. In return, she'd help me with the palace's errands. Anne was how I imagined having a sister is like. We just got each other's back. I knew the real Anne. I supported her passion for baking even when her own mother forbade her, and I was the only one who knew about her big crush on Count Harold, who often came bearing tributes from the people. Anne was so kind that she always gave me plenty of good food to share with Mom and other maids. But Mom wasn't too thrilled about this. For some reason, she was always anxious seeing how close me and Anne were.
Don't forget your place, Diana. Princess Anne is still royalty, and you're just a little maid. Be sure you never cross the line with her.
She's just trying to help us, Mom. Don't worry, I'll be careful. Then one day, Anne found a beautiful vintage dress from her closet and convinced me to try it on. I agreed, and once I stepped out of the changing screen, Anne was amazed. See, you'd make such a gorgeous princess. Did I ever tell you you remind me so much of my aunt, the late Queen Mary? I don't have much memories of her, but I've seen her picture in the royal family tree, and you very much share the same aura with her. I wish, Anne, but if I were a princess, I would have people do whatever I want. Like, fetch me my robe, servant, and when you're finished, my toes could use a salt bath. We were just messing around when Mom came storming in.
Diana, how dare you desecrate the princess? I told you not to cross the...
She didn't finish her words, but fell to the ground, holding her chest in pain. I rushed over to her as Anne ran to the hallway looking for help. Mom!
Diana, I need to tell you something.
No, Mom, save your strength. The doctor will be here any minute now.
No, Diana, you listen to me. I've been hiding the truth from you your entire life. It's time you learn.
What? What do you mean?
I'm not your birth mother, Diana. Just find my safe, okay? The answers are there. And don't tell anyone.
She took one last breath before closing her eyes. The doctors rushed in, but it was too late. She had a heart attack with a pre-existing heart condition, so she didn't stand a chance. I spent the next week doing nothing except grieving my mother's passing. It didn't even bother me that we were not genetically tied. In my eyes, Stella was my mother, the only family I had. She loved and cared for me more than anyone else ever could. It hurt to even be here in her room, feeling her presence surrounding this place. But as I was going through her stuff, I accidentally stepped on a section of the floor that sounded hollow. It immediately sprung open, revealing a secret cellar underneath. The first thing I noticed was an intricate key-shaped necklace. Next to it was a letter, unveiling that this was an heirloom from my birth mother, who was none other than Queen Mary herself. Even more shockingly, she was still alive. On the day I was born, by Miranda's order, I was separated from Queen Mary, and she was held captive in the castle's dungeon. If it weren't for her pleading Miranda not to harm me, I might have been thrown into some orphanage far away. Instead, I was placed in Stella's care, as Miranda wanted to keep a close eye on me to prevent any chance of betrayal. Stella had regretted following Miranda's order ever since, as she grew to love me like her true daughter. She wanted to run away with me, but the thought of Miranda finding out and putting her family in danger stopped her. But she'd hoped that one day I'd be reunited with my mother. None of this felt real. My hands were still shaking as I held the letter. I need the answer to all my questions. I owed it to my mother to fulfill her dying wish. That night, following the instructions my mother left in her letter, I pretended to be a maid bringing food to prisoners and went down the secret tunnel. There were no guards in the large abandoned prison, only a thin, emaciated woman. Slowly and carefully, I approached her. Are you Queen Mary? I handed her the necklace. The woman's eyes lit up, and she looked up at me in shock, tears welling in her eyes.
Diana.
I nodded. She pulled me into her arms and cried in joy, but then she abruptly pulled away from me.
What are you doing down here? Miranda is going to find out. It's too dangerous. You need to leave.
It's okay. No one knows I'm here. They won't find me.
Still, it's too risky. My sister is an evil woman. She always wanted to be the queen. So she picked the day I was at my weakest to imprison me, subdue you, and falsely declared my demise during childbirth. That's how she eliminates any obstacles that stop her from seizing the kingdom. But Miranda will never be the queen in people's heart. She's nothing more than an oppressor, and it pains me to know she has corrupted our kingdom. But you are here now, Diana. You're the true heir to the throne. You have to stop Miranda.
Me? I still haven't dared to believe any of this is real. I grew up just a little maid who's never been formally educated. What can I possibly do to overthrow someone in control of an entire country?
Diana, I'm sorry I couldn't give you a better childhood, but I know, deep inside, you are a strong, resilient girl. Stella told me all the time how smart and bright you are, as she brought me food. Me and her both believed in you. You have the power to make things right.
My mind was still swirling with all this new information. Things that just seemed impossible, unbelievable.
I understand why you might be doubtful, but here, leave the palace and test your DNA against mine. Once you confirm your identity, you can decide what to do next, but you can't stay inside the castle any longer. 'Cause once Miranda finds out you know the truth, she won't leave you alone.
I hesitated for a moment, but I knew what needed to be done. So, early in the morning, I packed up some belongings and grabbed some food before sneaking into a freight truck that was about to leave. But then I suddenly bumped into someone.
Hey, watch where you're going!
Shh! Keep it down!
Why? Don't tell me you're some kind of thief.
No, I'm a maid. I'm just not allowed to go outside the palace. But, the princess desperately wants to make a Dutch chocolate cake, and the storage is out of ingredients, so I need to go to market.
And did you plan to sneak into my truck and have a free ride there?
I didn't know it was your truck, but if you can help me, that would be lovely.
And what would I get in return?
My company.
Fair enough. It's a lonely ride. By the way, what's your name?
Diana. What's yours?
People call me Harry. Now let's get going.
We hopped into the truck, and Harry turned out to be not such a bad companion. It was nice to have someone else my age to talk to for once, especially a handsome one. Then he turned on this music that's called pop. I swear, it was so good, I couldn't help grooving along.
This song is my favorite. Do you know it?
Nope. The Queen doesn't even allow us to own a radio.
Oh, wow. Maybe I can sneak one in for you.
I would absolutely love that. After a while of driving, we took a break in the forest to stretch our legs. I shared with Harry some cookies Anne baked earlier today, when suddenly a snake coiled around the lower part of my leg and sunk its teeth into it. Pain immediately shot up. Moments later, Harry dislodged the snake and threw it away. Then he leaned over, sucking the venom out of my wound without hesitation. I blushed, both confused and flattered. He grabbed some clean cloths in the truck and helped me bandage the wound.
I'm sorry, that was weird.
No, that was kind of you. And I really hate to say this, but I don't think the snake is poisonous. I read about it in a book once, but still, thank you for saving me. His face turned bright red even for minutes later. It was so cute. We then continued our journey. When we arrived in an aristocratic area where people seemed to be living in luxury, I began to doubt that the kingdom was as poor and in bad shape as Queen Mary had said, until we arrived at the commoner community. I was taken aback by the small buildings and houses that were old and crumbling. The market was basically desolate, with only a couple of sellers in sight. I couldn't even find any baking supplies there. It was growing dark, so Harry asked if I wanted to crash at his place. I had nowhere else to go, so I agreed. Harry's house was shockingly small, but it was clean and cozy. His father is a doctor, and his mom takes care of his 3-year-old sister. They kindly welcomed me and invited me to have dinner with them. Although it was frugal, to say the least, and I could tell that everyone was still hungry after the meal. I have a loaf of bread in my pack. I'd love to share it with you all if that's okay, to thank you for your hospitality. Harry's mother smiled and nodded, and his little sister squealed in delight as she dug into the loaf of bread. Since the famine began, everyone has suffered, even the ones with good jobs. We've all needed to tighten our belts a bit. Just then, a loud thumping sounded at the front door.
Open this door now, or we will kick it down!
As Harry and his parents rushed to the door, I hid in another room, afraid that I would be recognized. The guards were there, demanding tax payment, or else the family would be removed from their home. It hurt me to watch them fork over the money, searching their pockets to count every last coin they had. That night, I tossed and turned. I couldn't stop thinking about how Queen Miranda could oppress her own people to this point. I was flooded with guilt, thinking about how gleefully Anne and I would share the tributes taken from these poor people, unaware that they were suffering and starving. I couldn't stay in bed any longer. I crept out into the hallway and down the stairs, and suddenly spotted Harry's father, reading a book under a lamplight. I'm sorry to disturb you.
No worries. Anything I could help you with?
I actually do need your help. You see, I left the palace because I wanted to confirm something. If you could please compare my DNA to this person believes she's my birth mother.
Sure. It might take a couple of days.
That's fine, but please do not tell anyone about this. He looked confused, like he wanted to ask more questions, but seeing how reserved I was, he didn't. The next morning, I helped Harry and his mother clean up the houses of other people who couldn't pay the tax last night. The guards had ransacked a number of homes looking for the money, and now they were left starving and penniless. It couldn't go on like this. I need to find a way to feed the people first. So I came up with the idea of hunting some wild animals in the forest for food. Then I instructed each household to build a hidden cellar under the ground to store their food and keep their properties to themselves. I was so focused on the dire situation that I didn't even have time to worry about the DNA results until I received them that evening.
The result shows that you and the other person are indeed related.
I see.
It also shows that the other DNA belongs to the late Queen Mary. May I know how this is possible?
It's because Queen Mary is still alive. And if the result is true, that means I really am her daughter. At that moment, Harry unexpectedly entered the room, jaw dropped.
You're what?
Hey, what's the matter with you? Don't think you're better because you help everyone you see. Oh, so now we're being honest? Fine, my turn. I didn't listen to what everyone said about you and still became your friend. Turns out they're all right after all. Like father, like daughter. What are you talking about? You knew everything? Yeah, I'm not dumb. And that's not all. Now I finally believe my dad died in that fire because of your dad's negligence. His dad was among the victims in that fire? My feet wouldn't move, and my muscles were constricting from shock for a while before I could drag my heavy heart and crumbled thoughts to somewhere else. I'm sorry about his dad, but I'm in pain too. It's not just because the boy I like was cruel to me, but also because, as it turns out, he's no different from everyone else. Devastated, I unknowingly brought myself to the gymnasium. Wait, my self-defense club? They're still practicing? Wow, hard at work already. Amazing. Shut up! Why are you even here? Then their insurrection began. Just quit already. We're not here to entertain you. Your careless, irresponsible behavior has said enough. You don't even know why we need to learn how to defend ourselves. You never cared about us in the first place. Don't even bother pretending. Leave. Okay, fine. I won't stay where I'm not welcome. Bye, then. Home at last. I was gonna take my frowny face straight to my room, but couldn't hide it from Dad. Sweetie, why the long face? How are you so cheery all the time? Life's beautiful, and we get to see it every day, no? I hate it. I hate to see you get all the blame while doing nothing but good deeds. How everyone's mocking us. But above all, I hate how you always have that happy-go-lucky smile, even though people treat you like the butt of their jokes. I hate trying to be a hero like you said, but I can't stand pretending to be weak either. I hate everything! Honey, they might think the worst of us, but that doesn't mean we have to be so pessimistic and indifferent. Then we're no better than them, aren't we? You can't change the way people see you or be anyone but yourself. Perhaps one day we might manifest something good to the universe. But first, we need to be good people. His words actually woke up something in me. Was I wrong about everything all this time? In the following days, Aaron and I ran into each other a couple of times, but we both avoided eye contact. That one's a dead end, but a boy is not my biggest problem. Now I want to flip the script and start over. But from where? I know. But wow, everyone immediately got their torches and pitchforks ready at the sight of me. Good afternoon, y'all. What you said the other day got me thinking, and I'm sorry. I want to help. For real. Of course, only if you want me to. Come on, I'm already at the bottom. Give me a chance to go up, huh? No loss for you anyway. They seemed convinced, so I got down to business right away. What? You're already cowering? I only swung my arm. Looks like what they've been practicing wasn't working, so I decided to put them on a strength-building regimen alongside one-on-one sessions with me. On top of that, I built each member's profile detailing their weaknesses and how they should be improved.
Most of us aren't tall or athletic. How about you show us how to use weapons like pocket knives, nunchucks, and axes?
Seriously? Sorry, but swords are only as good as the women who wield them. You'll most likely hurt yourself if you carry those things around. So I came up with the idea of teaching them self-defense using familiar items like backpacks, pens, and heels. And this look? I actually wanted to get rid of it, but I decided to keep it up since this is what most girls wear. This should show them how to protect themselves in the most unexpected situations. Danger won't wait for you to change into appropriate attire. Besides, I'm totally serving this look. Then more students joined our club. I see geeks, nerds, goth chicks, and even popular cheerleaders. What brought them here? Hazel once mentioned that they all had a reason to learn self-defense. So I decided to sit everyone down one day. Alright, no practice today. I want this club to not only empower us girls physically, but also be a safe space to, talk about ourselves and our problems. Okay, who wants to go first? I broke the ice by sharing everything that's wrong with my life, why I had such a slappable face, and all things false about my family that everybody liked to say. The girls seemed quite bewildered, then began contributing to the conversation.
Well, for me it's my mom. She got divorced recently, and now she's doing really questionable midlife crisis stuff. I mean, she can do whatever she wants, but I'm still very angry with how she's handling things. So my therapist said I should take up some physical activity to deal with my anger issue. It seems to work, so far.
I feel powerless at home too, so I thought learning how to fight would give me the strength I need to stand up against my stepdad.
Yeah, I felt helpless many times before, like whenever I reported my stalker to the police, and they said there's nothing they can do. But practicing with you guys made me feel strong and confident, no matter how brutal it can be.
Totally. With what we learned here, I felt like one day we could both reverse stalk our stalkers.
Jeez. I only wanted to take advantage of these poor girls at the beginning to get out of trouble, and almost abandoned them. What was I thinking? And since then, they'd all got stronger and seemingly more confident through each lesson. Every girl had several bruises, but the brightest smiles were always on their faces. We must have looked like the happiest thugs. One day, when I was enjoying my meal, Betty came and said she wanted to have a word with me in private. I put aside our differences, but then she said this.
I'll cut to the chase. Your violent little club is getting more popular and taking away people's attention from what's truly important. My campaign.
I don't follow. We exist in completely different spaces. I have nothing to do with your campaign.
You know what I'm talking about. All that everyone cares about now is your girl fight club. I'm just concerned that you're planting seeds of violence in other students' minds. That's all.
Gosh, I don't need to explain to you, of all people, what I'm doing. If you're worried nobody cares about you anymore, maybe, just maybe, they're tired of your sob story and useless anti-bullying measures. Ugh, you're wasting my time. However, I couldn't have anticipated disaster struck right that evening.
Another person was complicit that day, but I was hesitant to point her out because I feared her retribution. But now your love and support have given me strength to do the right thing. That girl was none other than Jamie. She even blatantly lied to the principal that she had self-defense club. But they're nothing but a bunch of thugs in disguise. I am truly terrified for myself and everyone else in this school.
Members of the club were on my side. Still, most people chose to believe Betty, including the teachers. And so they shut us down. Am I on the right track after all? Or should I just return to my old, quiet life? The next day, the whole club came to comfort me.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Never mind her. She already had her army of simps go to war with Team Betty. But from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. I couldn't have done anything without you guys. It's my fault the club shut down.
Jamie, we became fighters thanks to you. You're a real one.
I was walking home, feeling much better than yesterday, when I saw the last person I want to see, Betty, who's with her bullies? Betty, you okay?
Never better. See, I'm with my friends.
What? Didn't these guys beat you up?
We buried the hatchet. Friends for life, right guys?
You talk too much. What now? What's the problem?
Aaron came flying out of nowhere and pulled me out. Then they tried to pick a fight with him, but Betty prevented it. Then we walked together, no word spoken. When a thank you was on the tip of my tongue, he already went in another direction. Later that day, I found out that Betty owed money to them and almost couldn't pay them back, hence their intimidation. Now that the issue was settled, they're back to being friends. Their friendship made me cringe. I shouldn't bother myself with it since I already knew Betty wasn't all pure and innocent then. The next morning, Betty dragged me aside as soon as I came to school. Looking for your favorite scapegoat? Where are your bestie assailants? Shockingly, she wanted to apologize. Jamie, I promise it won't happen again. She even said that it was Aaron who told her to change her ways. Welp, it didn't matter anymore. Pretty please don't tell anyone about this. My parents would shave all my hair and use my shiny bald head as a mirror if they knew. Whatever, I'm no snitch. But how long do you think you can get away with this? People's sympathy will run out one day. Are you gonna ask them for another punch to have another sob story? Then I stormed off, leaving her frozen on the spot. It's Monday, meaning I was supposed to attend club meeting, but now that we're banned, I don't have anything better to do. So bored. Suddenly, I saw smoke rising from afar. That direction. It's the gym! I acted on instinct and ran towards it. As I approached the fire, I realized it was much bigger than I thought. Worse, I heard someone scream for help from inside. So I hit the fire alarm, but as soon as it sounded, memories of the fire in the past and my dad came rushing to me. It's keeping my feet rooted there. At this point, many people heard the alarm and came to help extinguish the fire. What you standing there for? Give us a hand! Ayo, did she cause this? Out of the way! Useless! Images of Dad's scar filled my head. I just want to explode. Is history repeating itself? Are people gonna die? Jamie! I was awoken by the calls of my friends from the club. They're helping too, but this much water and sand couldn't do much to this ever-growing fire. In a split second, I tore out a piece of my shirt, dipped it in some water, then wrapped it around my face before running straight inside the burning building as everyone else gasped at me. The black smoke covered my field of vision. I dashed further inside and showed any survivor I saw the way out. Shockingly, I found Betty, shivering and cowering. I called out her name a couple of times, but no response. Without thinking, I carried her out in my arms. As soon as we got out, I saw Aaron trying to tell me something, but I didn't hear a single word as I was fixated on looking for more survivors in there. Suddenly, fire truck sirens took me out of it and I stopped. Firefighters are here! My dad's here! They swiftly took care of the rest. But my dad's uniform caught on fire, which had to be taken off. That's when he inadvertently revealed his scarred arm. When the fire had been put out and no one was left inside, I rushed over to give my dad the biggest hug. Dad, you're all right! I finally did it! Then some townsfolk came to pick up their kids, and I saw them looking at my dad's scar with this stupid, aghast look on their faces. What are you looking at? Y'all thought a firefighter's body's flawless? This? It's what he got for trying to save you and your family in that tragic fire and all these years. He should have been praised as your hero, but instead, all he got in return is deformity and your ungrateful ass. Dad had to hold me back to stop any further colorful words from coming out of my mouth. Poof. They need to hear that. It took a while before a few people approached my dad, asked him how he was doing, and apologized for mistreating him, as well as disregarding his contribution to the town. Hey, my emotional outburst helped. After that incident, I spent a few days at home. The girls told me that Betty admitted to setting the gym on fire so she could play the victim and be the center of attention once again. Betty only contacted Aaron because she wanted him to save her specifically, but the fire was unexpectedly huge and spread like, well, wildfire. Tragically, Aaron didn't make it in time while Betty was completely unaware of other students in the gym at that time and accidentally trapped them. There's going to be dire consequences for her no matter what. That evening, I answered the door to see a familiar face. Hi. How are you holding up? I was so worried. Wait, let's go somewhere else. I didn't take Betty's text seriously until I heard you running into the fire. Please forgive me. I'm sorry about the last time we spoke. I was so angry I said all those wrong things about you. I'm very sorry about your dad as well. It's okay, and my family and I should have been thanking your dad and his team. Without them, my mother wouldn't have been around now. That's alright. I wasn't being completely honest either. The truth is, I know. Ever since the day we fell out, I kept an eye on you still. I know that's creepy, but I just wanted to know how you're doing. Believe it or not, I secretly came to your self-defense club a couple times and saw what good deeds you're actually doing. And now, would you give me the chance to get to know the real you? Bro, you're sure you want to know me? I've seen that you're more than willing to ditch me and help just about everyone in need, and I'm tired of that. Besides, aren't you into nice, cute, petite girls? Says who? Is this about what I said in English class? It's just so the girls would stop. And the other thing, guess I was a bit misleading, but that's how I instinctively act to everybody because I thought it's what any good person would do. When you finally become my girlfriend, you'll get the special Aaron Taylor treatment. Ahem, that's still not my biggest achievement this school year. I got to be friends with these amazing people. And even though I'm not a true hero, I found a way to help them overcome some of their problems. Would you believe it? I was really happy I did that, and I would be happy to do it again.
One day at school, while I was busy with my homework, suddenly a boy stormed in my place. "Hey, Beauty, I get a dare. Would you mind giving me a kiss?" "What? I very mind. Get off me!" But he still leaned towards and trying to press his dry as the bark of a tree lips on mine. No way! All I gave him was a slap on the face to shake the last sense back to him. Come on, it's just a truth or dare game. Don't need to overreact like that. Yeah, that's right. Just give him a kiss, Cheryl. And don't act so highly. It's not every day that someone offers to kiss you. Gosh, these dudes might as well need to be taught a lesson then. Hey, stop. It's a game to you, but not to her. And she has a right to act on her own will. Huh? Andrew was defending me? What's wrong with him today? Who told you I need your help? Those boys really killed my mood today, that I couldn't focus on anything else. All of a sudden, I heard Green Day playing, and soon I lost my negative thoughts to the song and became completely absorbed in it. And you know who's the idiot that played it. The next day, Diana took me out for some retail therapy. Hey, about yesterday, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine now. Such a relief, Cheryl. But just a little reminder, please don't misunderstand that my boyfriend has something with you. He was just being kind, you know. What? Me? With your boyfriend? As if. Even if he's the last boy on the planet, I'd never like him. Really? That's all I want to hear. I get this, please. Sometimes I couldn't understand my friend. But what if he still had feelings for me? What am I thinking? Get yourself together, Cheryl. After a fun shopping day, we separated and I went home to see Mr. Hardy wearing apron doing something in the kitchen.
Ah, you're home. Juliana is in Paris for 2 weeks, for some urgent business.
2 weeks? How was I supposed to live with just these two obnoxious people for the whole 2 weeks? But wait, Juliana is on a business trip? How strange. She's never done that kind of thing. Right that moment, I got a message saying she had to fly out to negotiate some deal for the cosmetics she was using. Well, that explained. Perhaps getting married made her become more mature, I guess.
Cheryl, go wash up. Dinner is waiting. I've prepared your favorite.
And the food Mr. Hardy cooked was surprisingly delicious. More strangely, over the next few days, I realized being with them wasn't a nightmare as I thought it would be. Mr. Hardy was an excellent cook and always tended to my favorite list. So to pay back, I volunteered to do the cleaning.
You're doing the dishes? Make sure you don't break any.
Let me save them. No need.
You do.
He's right. I couldn't finish it all by myself. We were working peacefully when I felt something cold on my cheek. He's splashing water on me. Angrily, I splashed him back. It was fun, except for how soaked our hairs and shirts were.
Gosh, how old are you both?
One day after dinner, Andrew asked me to go with him to the grocery store. Okay, fine, but I wouldn't carry any bags. Then we took a stroll around the neighborhood. The city at night with flickering lights did have some soothing effect.
Yours is chocolate, right? Can I take a bite?
Then he had like half of my ice cream.
Oops, sorry.
You can have mine. That's fine.
Seemed like our princess is in a good mood today. Normally you'd chase me all the way down the street.
That's true. I hate to admit, but since Andrew and his dad moved in, I found myself happier and more relaxed.
Hey, did I say something wrong?
And for some reason, my words naturally blurted out about how lonely I had felt in my own house. When my parents passed away, Juliana is my only family, but she's too drowned in her own flashy hobbies, sparing no time for me. Not until recently, she spent more time at home, which is good anyway.
I didn't know that, Cheryl. So we have more in common than I thought. Actually, my childhood wasn't as wonderful either. My mom and dad got divorced when I was 7. I just thought it's because they're not meant for each other, but turns out mom was having an affair, which made dad devastated and closed his heart to everyone until he met your aunt.
Poor Mr. Hardy and Andrew. My aunt actually had changed ever since she's been with Mr. Hardy too. Maybe they're the right ones for each other. We kept walking along the riverbank, and chatting with Andrew wasn't bad like I thought, or even good in some way. Suddenly, he tripped over something and fell on the ground. Gosh, you're bleeding! Sit here, I'm gonna buy some bandage. But I didn't manage to get too far before witnessing a scene I wish I didn't.
A day after Juliana came back from the business trip, she immediately called for a family meeting and announced the unexpected. Cheryl, Andrew, we have something to tell you both. Mr. Hardy and I decided our relationship has come to an end. What? Why so sudden? Dad? Mr. Hardy didn't say anything, but seemed to not take it well either. Then Andrew turned to me for an explanation, but I just couldn't bear his look. It's just, we realize we're not for each other. You'd better move out soon. Empty and awkward atmosphere covered the room. The news hit us hard. Mr. Hardy kept silent until they were about to go.
You should cook for Cheryl more often. She likes stir-fry veggie.
Drop it! Stop acting like you understand me better than my aunt! Get out of my house now!
Take care, Cheryl.
They've gone out of our lives, just like I always wanted. But what is this aching feeling? Days after, at school, Andrew kept trying to talk to me, but I avoided him by all means, until once he took me by surprise and pulled me to a corner.
Cheryl, tell me, why did they break up? You must have known something, right?
Didn't you listen to my aunt? They're just not made for each other.
You're hiding something.
Stop bothering me. We're not related anymore. I walked away as fast as possible. Seeing his face was the last thing I wanted now. Thank God Diana found me. I'm sorry for that, Cheryl. By the way, I dumped Andrew. Like father, like son. Better stay away from them all. Yeah, it should have been that from the start. Things went peacefully for a week. Diana was always around, and soon my days were filled with her presence and care. I felt thankful to have a best friend like her around at this time. Then, one day, Andrew suddenly approached me in rage.
It's you, right?
What? Then he showed me the lipstick he found in his dad's bag, and some lip marks on his shirt as well. That's when he suspected Mr. Hardy was having an affair, causing the rift between him and Juliana.
But Dad said he would never do that, and I trusted him. What happened with Mom devastated Dad, so no way would he do the same thing with anyone else, which left you the only one who's behind this, right?
What? How is it here? Yes, it's me. It's me. So what?
But why did you have to do it?
Isn't it? The day after, I asked Diana to meet me in a cafe. Diana, my aunt and Mr. Hardy are getting back together. Can you believe? How could it be possible? One more thing. You forgot this at my place? Why did you do this, Diana? Is it just because you're afraid I would steal your Andrew? I told you I'd never steal my bestie's boyfriend.
What's going on here? Didn't we just fake date Diana?
Andrew? You guys just faked date? But why? Then he said that he just moved back here. He wanted to talk to me to untangle the misunderstanding in the past, in hopes everything would get cleared and we might get back together. But Diana approached him and suggested they fake date to see how I would react first.
I thought it's kind of a good idea, so I agreed.
Have you both lost your mind? Why did you suggest such a thing? It bugged me when seeing you living together, so I had to separate you again. Again? What does this mean?
It's not the first time you did this, right?
I couldn't bear seeing you together because I like you, Cheryl, for a long time now. So back years ago when you became Andrew's girlfriend for some stupid game, I tried to end it as soon as possible. Turns out, Diana paid the boys to fabricate the story of Andrew setting up the game to deceive me for money and intentionally let me hear their conversation. So that meant I wrongly accused Andrew. I trusted you as a best friend and share everything with you, even my insecurities. But you just use it as a means to satisfy your selfishness? I didn't mean it.
And now you're even willing to sabotage my family's happiness for your own needs. You've gone too far.
Diana was wrong, but not this time. Actually, Andrew, Diana wasn't the reason why your dad and my aunt broke up. It's me.
No, it's her who put the lipstick on my dad's bag, remember?
It's true, but my aunt never found this lipstick. Ironically, your dad was supposed to be accused of having an affair, but in fact, my aunt was the one who really did. You remember the night we went to the grocery store? I was looking for a pharmacy, but happened to see my aunt hands in hand with another man. Why is your Paris business trip involved having a fling with another man? Do I have to remind you that Mr. Hardy and you are getting married? Don't you love him?
Cheryl, I love him dearly. I don't know what's gotten into me. I'm sorry.
Say it to Mr. Hardy. That's when I know my aunt wasn't faithful to your dad, so I forced her to break up with Mr. Hardy immediately.
Why keep it from us?
I know your dad and you wouldn't take this well after what happened with your mom, so I didn't want to rub the old scars. I'm sorry, Andrew. I went home to see Juliana with her suitcases.
Cheryl, you're home. Sit here. I want to talk to you. There's something I wasn't honest with you, Cheryl.
Then she admitted that there's actually no gold diggers trying to deceive her. It's her who put all of the relationships in ruin, as she quickly got bored with them and quickly turned into another guy when still in a relationship.
I lied because I don't want you to think ill of me, but I didn't expect it would make you hold a negative opinion on boys. Trust me, Pumpkins. One day you'll definitely find a boy who loves you truly. Then hold him dearly, will you?
Don't be like me, lapsed up into old ways and ended up losing an incredible man. I'm glad you learned that. And now I have to go. I was asked to take care of you until you're 18. And hell, you are now. I believe my pumpkin can live on her own feet from now. Bye. I hope you could lead your independent life too, Auntie. Now, all the truth was revealed, letting out the secret that was relieving after all. I was sitting on our favorite spot at school, but beside me wasn't Diana anymore. I got this letter from her in my locker this morning. Hi, Cheryl. I apologize again for my selfish acts. I should have known better that love cannot be forced, and I am also grateful to your big heart. I always cherish every moment shared with you. Though it's hard, I have to go now to find a way to heal myself. Take care, Cheryl. Diana. Kiss. My best wishes are with you, Diana. Why the dumb face? Without letting me crack a word, out of nowhere, Andrew snatched my earphones. Green Day? You're too predictable, Cheryl. Why are you here? I saw you sitting alone, so I guess you might need a companion? Yeah, Diana's moved to another city, you know. Yeah, she'll be fine. Andrew, I'm sorry for wrongly accusing you back then. I was too childish and impulsive. I should have listened to you first. That's fine. Actually, I have something to tell you too. You know, when you said you're the one who broke up Dad and Juliana, I was really angry. But a part of me was kinda happy, because that would mean you didn't want us to be cousins. 'Cause I didn't want that either. I want more. Cheryl, would you be my girlfriend again? Let's see. I might or might not want that. I'm kidding, of course. I'd love to, Andrew. Then he pulled me for the most magical kiss ever. I forgot. Dad asked you to drop by for dinner tonight. Did he? Yeah, I shouldn't miss that. I will ask him to make fried chicken burrito, baked ziti, Greek salad. Isn't it too much? I'm not finished. Here I was, confronting my greatest fear. Math! Wendy, focus. What is 9 plus 11? A, 19, or B, 21? The numbers whirled around me. Panic set in. 9 plus 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equals 19? No, 21? Great numerical gods, why is this so confusing? You're so extra. Sit up, I'll show you again. I still don't get why I have to do this, though. It's not like I'm going to school. Yeah, I quit school not long ago to help Mom out, making a couple of bucks. In case you haven't noticed, we're dirt poor. I'm Wendy, by the way. 15 and fabulous. Well, sorta. I know I'm a big silly goofball, but the good thing is my brother, Leo, does not share the same brain cell with me. That guy ate knowledge for breakfast. He went to this elite high school, on scholarship of course, and always a top student 3 years in a row. That's like genius. Mom also said he's our only ticket out of poverty. That's why she held 3 jobs at once, while I gathered scrap metal to sell to the scrapyard to support his study. The 3 of us have been working hard to create a better life for our family. But then, one afternoon, I suddenly noticed posters of Leo that accused him of breaking his classmate's arm. What nonsense is this? I tore them all down and rushed home to see a bunch of gangsters breaking our things. My mom and Leo were in the corner, begging them to stop. Stop! What on earth are you doing? What does it look like I'm doing, brat? I'm collecting compensation for your brother's victim. He messed with the wrong person. The son of a loaded family. You got the wrong guy. Leo wouldn't hurt a fly. Right, Leo? I turned to him, but he just lowered his head in guilt and defeat. How much then? $3,000. 3,000? You kidding, right? Do I look like I'm kidding? Let her go! Just stop it! All of you! Then Mom rushed to the kitchen and brought back all of our saving jars. They're about $1,000. Just take them and leave us alone. I'll pay the rest later. The thug let me go and grabbed the jars. We'll be back next month for the rest. Mom fell to her knees. She looked so hopeless amongst the mishmash. Mom, Wendy, I'm so sorry. Please let me help. The school already suspended me for a whole month. I'll get a job. I'll pay for the debt. No, my boy. Use this free time to study. Once you come back to school, I want you to be the perfect student, so no one can ever look down on us again, okay? But what about the debt? Just leave it to me. I'll work some extra shifts here and there, and everything will be sorted. Now, go study. Thank you. Mom, I won't let you down again. Then he left the room. That's when Mom's smile wears off. I knew she only said that so Leo could have his peace of mind. The truth was, no amount of Mom's extra shifts could get us $2,000 by next month. I think if the math was right, it's time for me to save the day.
I tried to get a job, but somehow they all lasted for only one shift. Like when I was waiting for this diner, all the food and drink just fell out of my tray. Or that time when I work at construction site and I got my foot stuck on the thing I just built. I came home feeling deflated. Just then, there was a knock at the door. It was Nathan, Leo's best friend. I could instantly feel my cheeks heating up.
Hello, Erp to Wendy. Are you gonna let me in? Or are we gonna stand here, awkwardly?
Sure. Come on in.
You look, exhausted. You sure you're alright?
It's just the whole thing with Leo. I've been trying to get a job to pay for the debt, but nothing worked.
I'm sorry all that happened to your family, and I want to help you, but there's something you should know first.
After the talk, Nathan got me a job as a maid for his cousin Zach's house. Other maids were showing me around when, get out! A maid ran past us, crying her eyes out. What was that? That is the young Master Zach throwing a tantrum. He's the illegitimate son of the late master and was only brought here 5 years ago by his grandfather. And let's just say, Madame Linda, his stepmom, is not so thrilled about it. They've been on each other's necks ever since. The girl you just saw was Madame Linda's favorite. She's been a thorn in Master Zach's side for a while now. Then I gotta find a way to get on both their good sides, to prove that I'm perfect for this job. Okay, first day at work, Madame Linda was complaining about Zach's toy car collection, so I threw them all away. But Zach went bonkers on me and went rummaging through the junkyard to find every single one of them. Sorry, Master Zach, it's just Madame Linda. Oopsies. He immediately stormed off to confront Madame Linda. I felt bad, so to make amends between them, I cooked his favorite soup and told him that Madame Linda made it for him as an apology. But as he took the first bite, his face turned green and dashed to the nearest toilet. Whoops. One rainy day, I was taking the trash out and saw a strange woman peeking from the fence. She suddenly tripped, so I helped her up, asking if she was looking for someone, but she just ran away. Whoa, Jesus! How long have you been standing there?
Long enough. Come inside, it's freezing out here.
Sure. Later that day, I was cleaning Madame Linda's room when accidentally knocked over her jewelry box. It crashed on the floor, spilling jewelry everywhere. One of the bangles snapped in half. I frantically pocketed it to fix it later when the gruff butler swung the door open. I apologized and promised to fix the jewelry box, but he still insisted on firing me. Just then, Zach stepped in and ordered him to let it slide. Zach then stayed and watched me fix it.
Where'd you learn to do that?
It's nothing. I grew up in a trailer park. Everything we own came from the junkyard. They just need a little fixer-upper. I've been doing it since forever, so...
You got a gift. Besides, reusing things is cool.
Whatever you say, pretty guy. Say,
you want to hang out sometime?
Like a date?
Maybe.
Won't your girlfriend get jealous?
What girlfriend? I'm very single and ready to mingle right now.
Sure, why not? On the weekend, Zach took me to his favorite coffee shop, and I got to see a softer, more caring side of him. Turned out he never got a girlfriend, so I made him a flirting tutorial. For a price, of course. At first, I thought he was just practicing on me by giving me flowers and fancy chocolates. But then he continued to woo me with my own list. He set up a romantic picnic under the stars in the backyard, took me to the park, and we watched the enchanting sunset together. That night, we walked back to the mansion. Before coming inside, Zach stopped me.
These past weeks that I've known you have been the best moments of my life. Wendy, I think I've fallen for you. Will you be my girlfriend?
Where did you learn those cheesy words?
Do you like them? Is it hot in here? Or is it just you?
Stop! I just need you to promise to be on my side, no matter what.
I promise.
When Zach left, I returned to my room. I pulled out my diary and then ticked off the last box on my list. Well, it was fun, Zach, but everything must come to an end. Soon you'll pay for everything you did to my family. I knew the truth back when Nathan came to our house.
There's something you should know first. Your brother was tricked. He didn't start the fight. A guy mocked your poor family, so Leo turned aggressive. After the incident, the guy was salty Leo beated him, so he faked a broken arm and had his family come for yours. They don't need your money. They just want you to suffer.
And who's that guy?
He's Zach, my cousin. What he did was wrong, so I'm on your side on this. And there's another thing.
Nathan played a video of Linda and her thugs threatening my mom and demanding more money. My rage became scorching. That moment, I decided to get revenge. That's why I became a maid at Zach's house, sabotaged his relationship with Linda, and made him fall for me. Everything was going just as planned so far. But the next thing I knew, Mom called me to tell me that Leo had been expelled from school and ran away from home. My blood was boiling. That's it. Today's the day Zach goes down. I pulled out Linda's broken bangle and placed it on my bedside table. During the daily room check, the butler spotted it right away and informed Linda. She rushed over to reprimand me for stealing her jewelry. Just then, Zach swooped in to defend me. Zach, you have to trust me. I didn't steal it. I just wanted to fix it before turning it to Madame Linda.
Don't worry, I believe you. You heard her. I know you despise me, but don't you dare drag my loved one into this.
Oh, finally put it out in the open, huh? You and your low-life girlfriend. Birds of a feather.
You're right, we're alike, and that means we're nothing like you evil witch.
Ha! Let's see how you like it. Alone on the streets.
Guards, throw them out now!
The next second, Zach and I were dumped on the sidewalk along with our belongings. Watching him grappling his stuff, I couldn't help but chuckle. How does it feel to be discarded like an unwanted object? Enlightening, isn't it?
What are you saying?
You remember Leo, the person who broke your arm? Who you used to extort money from my family? I'm his sister.
I think you got it wrong. Leo didn't break my arm. He only shoved me to the ground and said something like, don't talk nonsense about his family. I didn't care, but Linda kept telling me to skip school the next day. She must have used me to make a fuss.
You mocked my family for being dirt poor. That's why Leo was so mad at you.
That's not true. I used to be poor too. You remember the woman lurking around the mansion? That's my real mom. She just wanted to make sure I was okay.
Turned out, Zach and his mom were abandoned by his dad because of their humble background. Then his grandpa found him. Though Zach didn't want to, his mom made him come with his grandpa, so he'd have a better life. But what his mom didn't know was that heck of a mansion was the coldest, most isolated place.
That is, until you came.
And it hit me. Zach is telling the truth. That meant I had taken revenge on the wrong person. Shoot! I am so sorry. I had no idea. And now you're kicked out, Leo's gone, and there's a huge debt. I don't know what to do.
Hey, it's all right. One thing at a time, Kay. I'm not mad at you or anything. I just wish you'd told me, but it's fine. I don't really like that house anyway. What about your brother?
He got expelled and left.
I'm sure he's okay. I'll help you find him, yeah?
Thank you, and I'm sorry. I don't know how to make it up to you.
You don't have to. I got a feeling you didn't come up with this twisted plan.
I didn't. It's actually your cousin, Nathan. I took Zach back to my place where he'd crash in the meantime. Mom was in tears. She told me that Leo was accused of plagiarizing an essay so he could no longer go to that school. But Leo's too smart to do such a thing. So Zach proposed we investigate at the school. To find whose essay Leo supposedly copied, we broke into the school's computer lab that night. We were snooping around when suddenly, Zach was grabbed from behind and dragged away. I slowly turned around and was shocked to the core. I sprinted to Nathan's house, banging on the door. Nathan! Zach was kidnapped! He's the heir to Adam's estate. They took him away for the ransom.
The heir? What do you mean?
Your grandfather's lawyer came to see Zach and I overheard him. Your grandfather's sick, so he authorized a lawyer to hand the will to his sole heir, Zach.
The will? Do you know where it is? If we swap it for a fake one with someone else's name on it, they'll release Zach and target that person instead.
Great idea. I think Zach left it in his bedroom. Maybe it's still there. Nathan and I hurried over to Zach's house. Nathan snuck into his bedroom while I was on the lookout at the door. Nathan switched the will for a fake one and took out a lighter and set it on fire. Just then, I turned on the light, scaring him to death.
What on earth, Wendy? Kill the lights or we'll be caught.
You mean you'll be caught? Then I opened the door, revealing everyone in his family and my brother Leo.
What's going on? Enjoying the taste of your own medicine, cousin?
Yeah, you just got busted. Remember when we were at the lab? I was shocked to the core to see my brother muffling Zach.
Shh, be quiet or we'll get caught.
Leo, I thought you left. Mom was worried sick.
I know, I'm sorry, but I need to sort this out. Things have been sketchy ever since that incident with this guy. And now with this, I gotta prove my innocence. So I came here and found this. Look.
Turns out, Leo's essay was identical to yours, Nathan. You took advantage of me to get revenge on Zach when he wasn't to blame. You told Leo Zach was bad-mouthing our family to stir things up between them. You made our lives miserable. I trusted you.
I can't believe you'd go this far. You're always obsessed with Grandpa's inheritance. Everything's a competition for you, to prove that you deserve to be a successor. All that work, but still nothing. Do you know how many sleepless nights I had to study? Or to hatch a plan, worrying Mom and Dad would blame me for not trying, for not being better? And you just showed up and everyone sees you as this golden child. And all my efforts have gone to waste. Why, Grandpa? Why not me? You were left out of the will due to your greed and scheming behavior. Now I know it's your parents' fault, and there will be severe consequences for them. And you, Nathan, you will join the army after graduation to serve the country, get disciplined, and come back a better man. Guards, take them away!
As Nathan made his exit, he paused at the sight of Leo and I.
I'm truly sorry. For everything!
Then he walked out the door. In the end, Grandpa chose to give Zach his share of the fortune. Zach, however, refused. He never wanted the money. All he wanted was to live comfortably with his mom. So that night, he packed up his things and was ready to go back home. His true home. Seeing Zach, I realized bearing hatred towards someone cannot solve your problem. It just puts you through so much pain, and even hurt other innocent people along the way. It's best just to focus on yourself. You do you, and things will work out on their own. Like now that all mysteries are debunked, our family is free of debt, and Leo can go back to school, full scholarship. Also, to compensate for what we've been through, Zach's grandpa decided to start a charity fund, and my family was the first to benefit from it. They even helped my mom secure a steady job. As for me, I found a knack for making things and found my place as an apprentice at a pottery studio. My coworkers have become my extended family. They always make fun of me whenever he picks me up. Hop on, we're going to a very special place today. Where to? It's a surprise. Hold tight. I was planning a bank robbery with these dudes I hired online. They claim to be ex-criminals, so it's going to be a big haul. We identified the subject, ran through the script one more time, and then headed to the bank. But when we got there, I was speechless! Hi, my name is Jolie. Wondering how I ended up robbing a bank? Come on, I'll take you on a wild ride. I come from a happy family with a mom and dad who always showered me with unconditional love. In fact, they were so perfect, I don't think they'd ever argued about anything. Growing up, I was taught to be a good person and prioritize school for future careers. I did just that, and they were so proud. But then one day, I came home to shocking news. Mom and Dad were getting divorced. But why?
Honey, this was the best for both of us. We're just not that compatible.
Not compatible? Did you just figure it out overnight? Sweetie, I know this is hard, but we're gonna be okay, I promise. No, we're not. We're a broken family and you just act like it's nothing. Do you even care at all? Days later, I still couldn't get my mind off it, until I passed by this restaurant and saw a familiar figure. Was it Dad? Holding hands with a strange woman? What the freak? Dad's been cheating on Mom? I immediately dashed home to tell Mom, but when I got there, I didn't have the heart to break it to her. Mom, you okay? It's just that the divorce has been hard on me. I respect your dad's decision, but this is really hard for me. You're the only family I got now, Jolie. No, she's wrong. I won't let her be this brooding ex-wife of Dad. I'm gonna get him back to her, once he sees how his beloved daughter is being affected by this divorce. So the next day, I went to the park and picked the flowers in public. Well, not exactly, but it's bad, right? Then I crossed the street when the sign said stop, but the policeman didn't even bat an eye. Hello? I'm breaking the law over here. Okay then, Mr. Whitman's restaurant we go. I didn't order anything, but just drew all over his wall, in chalk. Well, you don't want it to stay forever, right? But Mr. Whitman appeared and thanked me instead, as I gave him the best ideas to keep the kids entertained while eating in his restaurant. Ugh. Frustrated, I read the whole book at the bookstore without paying, littered in public, and even kicked some trash cans over, but nobody seemed to acknowledge my bad deeds. So I binge-watched some crime movies to activate my evilness. Aha! A robbery! That's why I hired those idiots. Gold Beach Bank and Trust, not Gold Beach the hat shop, you imbecile! Sorry, my mistake. We went ahead with the robbery anyway and managed to steal a bunch of hats, and I made sure to accidentally drop my wallet with my ID inside. The next day, I came home from school to see the store's owner raging at Dad, accusing him of bad parenting. But Dad stayed oddly calm and just paid for all the hats I stole. What?
Go get ready. You and I are going to dine out tonight. There's someone I want you to meet.
Let me guess. It's the side chick I saw the other day.
Jolie, this is...
Aurora. I'm your dad's friend.
Aurora, we should tell her.
Oh, drop it! I knew already. You two have been having an affair, haven't you?
Jolie, watch your words.
Why? Because it's the truth? Dad was about to say something, but Aurora stopped him. I can't believe you do this to Mom. I ran out of there and hid in this alley, crying with an aching heart, when I spotted some guys looking sketchy. They had a suitcase full of money and kept looking around cautiously. Suddenly, I stepped on a squishy, and it made the loudest noise and got them all to turn towards my direction. I immediately ran away before they spotted me and bumped into someone.
Who's that? Show yourself!
The guy instantly understood the situation and hid me away.
Just a cat, Lalo.
After the gang left, I stepped out to thank him. And my, such a heartthrob. I was going to offer to repay him, but he just brushed it off and walked away. So freaking cool! Later, I got home and saw Mom packing. She said she'd move out soon. And Dad didn't even stop her. Suddenly, I noticed something. Pictures of Mom and... Aurora! Mom, you know this woman? Aurora? Yeah, we've been friends since middle school. Friends? She's not your friend. She and Dad have been having an affair behind your back. It's really over, isn't it? No, Mom! You need to stand up for yourself. If you don't do anything, then I will. There's only one way now. Get the school involved. If they see a straight-A student like me suddenly turn rebellious, they'll talk some sense into Dad, right? But of course, I need to make sure my bad deeds are legit this time. Suddenly, I noticed everyone buzzing around. Oh my god, did you hear? We got a new transfer student, and he's got such a bad boy vibe. Tell me about it. He's been the hottest topic ever since he got here. Oh my god, he's coming this way. I turned around and my jaw dropped. It was the guy I met yesterday. Suddenly headed straight to me.
There you are.
You're looking for me?
No, but I'm just tired of people surrounding me. Let's get out of here.
So, transfer student, huh? What happened to your hair?
Just thought I'd change it up a little. You know, more appropriate for school.
Wait, aren't you like some kind of bad boy? Why are you following the rules?
I got a bit of a reputation, but I'm ready to change my ways.
No, good guys finish last, didn't you hear? That's why I'm trying to change too, to spice things up a bit. So, please, teach me to be a delinquent.
If you wanted that bad, then sure.
Yay! Thank you! You're gorgeous, man. Oh, and a jacked bod, too. Tyler and I started my new rebellious plan.
Okay, show me what you got.
I immediately went straight to a group of nerds, slammed my hand on the table and snatched a guy's burger and started mooching off it. Here's some fries. Did your parents starve you? No! I immediately stood up and left, and saw Tyler, who was laughing at me hysterically.
That's your idea of being mean?
I know I'm bad, that's why I need you to enlighten me. Tyler then taught me some pranks, and it was hilarious! We kept the door shut with 20 different locks and enjoyed seeing the teacher struggling to crack them all open. Got the screen to show a bunch of memes during class, then played a bell ringing sound every 15 minutes, confusing everyone. The cherry on top was to get loads of adult diapers shipped to our beloved principal, cash on delivery. When the principal asked who did it, I proudly took the fall.
Do you care to explain yourself?
Principal, I may look bad right now, but that's because my parents are getting divorced. I can't eat, can't sleep, my mind's a mess.
Alright, I get it. Jesus. I'll have a talk to your parents. You can leave now.
Father dearest, let's see how you handled this. When I got out, Tyler was waiting for me. He drove me away, then stopped by this gorgeous lake.
You didn't just rebel because you were bored, right?
I sighed, then started pouring it all out that had been bottling up inside of me.
Guess having a normal family is luxury to both of us.
What do you mean?
I actually grew up in an orphanage, but I wasn't happy there, so I ran away. I ended up on the streets and causing trouble. Luckily for me, my foster dad noticed and adopted me. I'm extremely grateful to this day, so I'm always looking to help him with the business.
Your dad has a business? What does he do? Tyler didn't answer me. When we got back, Aurora was already there waiting for me. What are you doing here? Your dad went on a business trip and asked me to come over to look out for you for a few days. No, thank you. I can look out for myself.
And who is this young man? Have we met before?
Would you please stop poking your nose into my business? Can't believe Dad still went ahead with the divorce after meeting with the principal. And now I'm stuck here with this annoying woman. Just wouldn't let me leave the house and even ordered this rubbish dusk till dawn curfew on me.
You're not going to see that guy. He's trouble.
Please, you're not my mom. So I continued meeting up with Tyler. But strangely, whenever I suggested we hang out at his place, he always seemed hesitant. So one time I went to his house to surprise him, but upon seeing me, he looked so worried.
What are you doing here? You're not supposed to come here. We have a guest today.
I turned around and was transfixed to see the sketchy guy from the alley.
Lalo, I'm Tyler's dad. You must be...
Jolie.
Oh, right, Jolie. Tyler told me lots about you. Come on in. Be my guest.
But Tyler pulled me out of there. We stopped at a nearby park when he finally loosened up a little. That man was your foster dad?
Yeah, I just couldn't tell you the truth. I'm afraid you wouldn't want me around anymore.
That's not true.
You don't get it. He's running an illicit business and now he's asking me to take over. I know I'm deeply indebted to him, but I don't want to do anything illegal.
Then don't. Just because he brings you up doesn't mean you have to do everything by his orders, especially breaking the laws, right? Tyler nodded, but still seemed troubled. That evening, Tyler was driving me back home when I suddenly saw a familiar face. I told him to drop me off there. Inside, Aurora was sitting side by side with a man, both looking all dressed up. Across the table was another person. What was she up to?
I'm telling you, this pair of top-notch diamond rings is perfect for your wedding.
Right. We only want the best for our wedding. Right, babe? Wedding? Those two? She's two-timing my dad. I quickly recorded their conversation and went home. Dad should be back tonight from his business trip. But when I told Dad everything, even with the recording, he still wouldn't believe me. What are you talking about? I was just out shopping all day with my friends.
Told you so.
Dad, you'll regret this deeply. And you, don't even think you could get away with this. I'll never accept you into this family. Tomorrow, the court will decide who I'm going to stay with. I know just what to do. I can't be in this house any longer. At the court, I stood up, to everyone's surprise, and spoke about how I got mistreated at home with Dad and Aurora, and asked to stay with my mom. The judge then asked Mom what she thought. I'm not so sure. Jolie should just stay with her dad. I was completely disappointed. Mom wouldn't even fight for me. When we got home, Dad immediately went bonkers on me while Aurora pulled off her nice act again. Right then, I got a text from Tyler asking to meet up, so I just stormed out of there. No, Jolie, wait up! When I arrived, Tyler looked surprised.
Jolie, what are you doing here? Mijo, I used your phone to ask her to come here.
Lalo then ordered his gang to tie me up. I was struggling to get away when someone rushed towards us. Lalo! Wait, Aurora? She knew this gangster? Release her now, or the police will get here any minute.
Thanks for the intel, Miss DEA agent. We're about to leave. With your daughter, of course. Now, if you want to save her, fill in the place.
DEA agent? As in, undercover cop? Fine, take me instead. Lalo's gang tied her up and pushed her into the van.
That's right. Boys, take this brat too. We can't spare any witnesses on the scene.
We had a deal, Lalo.
Really? Didn't ring a bell.
He ordered Tyler to drive away while the police siren was getting louder. Suddenly, Tyler took a turn.
What are you doing? That is not the way!
While they were distracted, Aurora slipped out the multi-tools in her pocket and started cutting the ropes around my hands. I did the same to her. Tyler then made a sudden stop. Lalo and the gang lost his balance and fell to the floor. The police immediately surrounded the van and captured these criminals.
Jolie, you're all right. You didn't get hurt anywhere, right?
Yeah, thank you for saving me. And I'm sorry for acting so rude. It's just, I'm not ready to move on from the divorce yet.
Sweetie, there's something really important I want to tell you.
I'm your biological mother. What are you saying? Jean is my biological mother.
No, sweetie. She's a friend of mine. I know this is all confusing, but just listen. 16 years ago, your dad and I had you. Right after giving birth, I had to move to Mexico to handle a serial diamond smuggling case caused by Lalo. And Jean offered to help out with you. I figured you deserve a normal, happy family, so I accepted her help and asked her to move to our house. Years later, thinking the case was finally closed, I moved back home, ready to reunite with you and your dad. But I suddenly got the news Lalo's organization was still operating and had to move to the States. I couldn't risk putting you in danger, so I hid the truth from you.
But what about the person who talked about the wedding with you?
Oh, that's Alejandro, my partner. We were just pretending to be a couple for the investigation.
Oh, I had no idea. You've done so much for me.
Of course, you're my daughter.
Thank you, Mom.
Finally, everything became clear. But as we got to the house, Jean, suddenly came dragging me away.
You're my daughter. No one gets to take you away from me.
Just because you raised Jolie doesn't mean you get to do anything to her. If you truly love her, you would only want the best for her.
Jean then broke down crying, revealing she had lost her reproductive ability. She was so happy she had me to take care of and treated me like her own daughter. Hey, don't worry. You'll forever be my mom. I gave Jean the biggest hugs. That's when I noticed Tyler was happy for me, but sad at the same time. I suddenly realized he didn't have a family anymore. I have an idea. Why don't you adopt Tyler into your home? Tyler and Jean looked at each other, and bright smiles appeared on their faces. Everything finally turned out to be okay. I've been trying to catch up with Mom and make up for all those lost years, but I also don't forget my second mom either. Tyler, or should I say my boyfriend, now lives with Jean, and he's driving me to visit her. I'm so happy I finally have a loving family and a baddie boyfriend. Only this time, we're not trying to break bad anymore.